Welcome to Sheikh Hamdan's Fans official channel, your premier destination for the latest insights into the life and legacy of this beloved leader, as well as the fascinating dynamics of the royal family. Today, we're honored to share a deeply personal and poignant moment from Sheikh Hamdan's life, a moment that offers a rare glimpse into the heart and mind of this remarkable individual. It's a story about love, family, and the unbreakable bonds that unite us. As Sheikh Hamdan recounts, the conversation with his father about the special woman in his life was one he knew was inevitable. From the moment he shared the news, he could sense his father's thoughtful pause, the weighing of words, and the unspoken questions that hung in the air. And yet, when his father finally spoke, his words were like a master key, unlocking a deeper understanding of love, loyalty, and the enduring power of family ties. In this intimate and revealing account, Sheikh Hamdan invites us into his inner world, sharing the emotions, doubts, and hopes that accompany any journey of the heart. It's a testament to the transformative power of love and a reminder that, even in the most unexpected moments, wisdom, guidance, and unwavering support can come from those who know us best. "Son, are you certain about this?" My father's measured tone was a gentle probe, seeking to understand the depths of my conviction. "She's older than you," he continued, his words laced with a mix of concern and caution. "Life is unpredictable, and you must think about the long-term implications." I sensed the unspoken worries behind his words, the whispers of society, the challenges of an unconventional love, and the fear of future regrets. But he didn't know her, didn't grasp the essence of her being. He didn't see how her life experience, her wisdom, and her past love had cultivated a depth, a richness, and a sincerity that I had never encountered before. "She has lived more life than you," he said, his words tinged with a hint of warning, as if her maturity would somehow create an insurmountable chasm between us. But he was mistaken. Her experience was not a barrier, but a bridge that connected us on a profound level. "People will talk," he said finally, his voice barely above a whisper. "Son, you must be prepared for that." Perhaps he was right. Perhaps the world would whisper, judge, and misunderstand our love. But I didn't care. Love isn't about appeasing the masses. It's about choosing the person who makes your heart feel at home. And she was my home, my sanctuary, my soulmate. "Does she make you happy?" The question was a turning point, a moment when everything shifted. My father's voice softened, his expression transformed, and I glimpsed the concern and hesitation that had been driving his words. In that instant, I knew that he would come to understand, to see the beauty and the power of our unconventional love. In that poignant moment, I realized that my father's concerns were rooted in a deep desire to see me happy. His question, "Does she make you happy?" was more than just a query. It was a heartfelt plea to know that I had found my joy. Without hesitation, I replied, "Yes, Dad, she makes me happier than I've ever been." Those words, spoken from the depths of my soul, were the only truth that truly mattered. As I spoke, my father's eyes locked onto mine, his fingers drumming a gentle rhythm on the table. The silence that followed was a palpable thing, a space where thoughts and emotions swirled like the tides. I knew my father's silences well enough to understand that they didn't necessarily signal acceptance, but nor did they foretell rejection. In that suspended moment, I sensed a world of unspoken emotions, a universe of love and concern that would forever shape our relationship. His voice, laced with the weight of experience, spoke directly to my soul. "Son, I don't want you to make a mistake." The concern etched on his face was genuine, born from a deep desire to protect me from life's unpredictable twists. "She's older, she's seen more, been through more. Are you sure she's not leading you down a path you're not ready to take?" His words weren't harsh, but they held a gravity that commanded attention. I understood his trepidation. He wasn't questioning her worth or doubting my feelings. He was questioning the test of time. Would I wake up years from now, regretting my choice? Would I grow to resent the gap between our ages, experiences, and stages in life? But what he didn't grasp was that love defies the constraints of time. It's measured in the connection that binds two souls, in the understanding that transcends differences, and in the alignment of hearts that beats as one. "She may not be able to give you the same future a younger woman could," he said, his voice a gentle whisper. "But love doesn't follow a schedule, nor does it seek permission based on age, stage, or societal approval. Love finds you when you least expect it, in the person you never saw coming, and it chooses you, regardless of the world's opinion. I had chosen her, not for what she could give me in the future, but for what she gave me in the present, a love that was steady, real, and enough, no matter what the years ahead held." "Do you love her?" His voice was soft, the resistance faded, and I sensed a searching for my truth. I gave it to him without hesitation. Yes, more than I can explain. He nodded slowly, his eyes meeting mine again, and in that moment, I knew that he didn't need to fully understand. He just needed to see that I did, and that was enough. His eyes studied me, searching for some doubt, some hesitation, but all he found was conviction, a conviction born from the depths of my soul. There was no argument to refute, no reasoning to dispute. I had never been more convinced of anything in my life, and I think he sensed that unwavering certainty. Love is a mysterious thing, son, he said, his tone neither dismissive nor fully accepting. It was the voice of a man who had witnessed love in all its complexities, its unpredictability, and its beauty. I won't pretend to understand why you chose her, he admitted, but love has a way of finding us in unexpected ways. It was the closest thing to approval he had given me yet, not full agreement, but not rejection either. And coming from my father, that was a significant step forward. She's lived more life than you, he said, his voice tinged with a hint of curiosity, as if he was trying to see the world through my eyes. Does that not worry you? He asked, his tone softer now, more inquiring. I knew what he meant, the questions society asks, the doubts people whisper, the assumptions they make when they see a younger man with an older woman. But my answer was simple. No, Dad, it doesn't worry me. I told him why. Because she had seen life in a way I hadn't, because she had experienced the highs and lows, the lessons, and the moments that shape a person into someone real. What about the future? He asked, his voice laced with concern. I knew what he meant, the doubts, the fears, the uncertainties that come with loving someone who doesn't fit society's expectations. But my answer was simple. Love isn't about planning every detail of the future, Dad. It's about knowing who you want to face it with. And I wanted to face it with her, not because it was easy, not because it was expected, but because in a world full of temporary things, she was the one person I knew would never feel temporary to me. He leaned back in his chair, exhaling slowly, his fingers pressed together in thought. I could tell he wasn't just speaking to me, he was speaking to himself, trying to make sense of something that went against everything he had expected for me. Love isn't supposed to be complicated, he said, his voice steady but with an underlying concern. People usually fall for someone their age, someone on the same path, someone who fits into life the way they imagine. She already is, I said, my voice filled with conviction. Because love isn't about ticking every box on some unwritten checklist of societal expectations. It's about finding someone who makes every day feel like a gift, someone who makes every moment worth living. And she makes everything worth it. I saw the furrowed brow, the lingering concern etched on his face, even as his expression softened. You'll face challenges you haven't thought about yet, he cautioned, his words laced with a mix of worry and wisdom. People will talk, they'll make assumptions, they'll question why a younger man would commit to an older woman. I let his words settle, knowing that I had already faced the whispers, the sideways glances, and the unspoken doubts. Love isn't about conforming to expectations or fitting into neat little boxes, I said, my voice steady and clear. It's about embracing the beauty of imperfection, the complexity of human connection, and the simplicity of two souls finding each other in a world that often seems determined to tear them apart. I looked at him, my eyes locking onto his, and I knew that he saw the sincerity, the conviction, and the love that shone brightly within me. Love doesn't need a script to be real, I said, my voice firm and resolute. I don't care what people think. They don't know what we have, they don't see what I see in her. My father's gaze held mine, searching for any hint of hesitation, but there was none. Then that's all that matters, he said, his voice tinged with a quiet acceptance. It wasn't full approval, but it was a start. I knew he was struggling to understand, to reconcile his own expectations with the reality of our love. But in that moment, I knew I didn't need his full understanding, I just needed him to see that this was real. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully, his expression unreadable. I knew he was weighing every word, trying to decide what to say next. There was no anger in his eyes, no disappointment, just concern. The kind of careful hesitation that comes from wanting the best for someone, but not being sure if they're making the right choice. I just want to know if you've thought about everything, he said, his voice quieter now, more reflective. Love feels strong in the moment, son, but life changes. Have you considered what it means to be with someone whose path has already been walked in ways yours hasn't? I took a breath, knowing what he meant. She had already lived through experiences I hadn't, seen parts of life I was just beginning to understand. But none of that mattered to me, because love isn't about matching timelines. It's about walking together, no matter where the path started. I've thought about everything, I said, and I still choose her. He raised an eyebrow, waiting for me to explain, and I knew he genuinely wanted to understand. What makes her different? He asked, his voice softer now. What makes this unexpected love so powerful that you're willing to stand against tradition, against expectations, against the natural doubts people would have? My answer was simple: she makes me better. He considered my words, and I could see the wheels turning in his mind. She doesn't just love me, she understands me, challenges me, supports me. She gives me a kind of love that's built on experience, not just emotions. I could see him weighing my words, considering the depth of our connection. Deep down, isn't that what every father wants, not just for his son to be in love, but to be truly